Hey, good people, Tiffany Javon here back with another video. And today we actually want to talk about how to break down your goals into manageable steps so that way you can look at it like not trying to eat a whole elephant, right? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So, one step at a time to achieve your goals. And so, these are our 8 steps actually to breaking down your goals so that way they become manageable steps, manageable actions that you won't feel so overwhelmed with. And so number one is that you want to identify your goal. You want to define what it is, no matter what sector of life that it's in, whether it's your career goal or your business goal, or if it's a relationship type goal, or if it's a health and wellness goal, or if it's a mental wellness goal, or if it's a goal that you want to go on a certain vacation, or you want to save up a certain amount of money to buy a certain thing, or whatever the case may be. You want to define it, right? So that's number one. Number two is that you want to set SMART goals. Okay, make sure, and SMART is an acronym, so it means, we've discussed this, it's specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, it's relevant, and it has a time table to it. And so we went over this. It's a SMART goal, it's specific, it's down to the wire. Like you're saying, I want to achieve this particular certification in 6 months, and in 6 months it'll put me at September 30th, or whatever the case may be. So that way it's very specific. You want to achieve certain success with what you're trying to accomplish, and then you have a date. It's relevant to what you're doing. It's relevant maybe to your career path right now, and you have a specific date to it. Okay, so, and it's something that you can certainly achieve, especially if it's a 6-month certification, or it's a certification that you can get at your own pace. And some people have gotten it in a few months with incredible focus, and then some people normally take 6 months, or whatever the case may be. So it's definitely something that's achievable within that time frame. Number three is that you want to identify milestones. So you want to break down your goals into major steps or phases, right? Maybe getting this certification comes with a book that has chapters, and maybe the whole certification has 10 chapters, and you want to break it down into, okay, well, 10, I want to break it down into 5 phases. I want to be able to tackle a couple of chapters by certain time frames, right? So if you're giving yourself 6 months, you're saying, okay, each month I want to tackle 2 chapters. And so that way it gives you more than enough time. Because if you tackle 2 chapters in 5 months, so that's 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. That's your 10 chapters that you have. So that way your last month is just nothing but summaries, summarizing all the chapters, summarizing all your knowledge, and maybe taking some practice tests and exams and different things like that, kind of seeing how you score. So that way you'll know, kind of taking those mock tests, so that way you'll kind of see how you'll score on the actual test. So break them down into phases, so that way you don't look at it like, oh Lord, it's 10 chapters. Okay, no, right now we just focus on chapters 1 and 2. That's it. Okay, for the next 30 days focus on 1 and 2, and then once you get to that next set of 30 days you focus on 3 and 4, and so forth and so on. Okay, number 4 is that you want to create sub goals. So you want to break down each milestone into even smaller tasks. So if we just, like, going off the example that we're using, if we're saying we're going to tackle 2 chapters to a certification that you need to obtain in six months, maybe you can break it down to, okay, 2 weeks, the first 2 weeks I'm tackling chapters 1. So then you can break it down to how many pages chapter 1 is. If chapter 1 has 10 pages, then the first week you can focus on the first 5 pages. The second week you can focus on the second 5 pages, and there you go. That's your 10 pages. You see what I'm saying? In that 2-week time frame, you did that in half the month. So now you got the other 2 weeks of that same month to focus on chapter 2. And you see what I'm saying? So you break them down and you continue to break them down to where you have monthly goals, then you can have weekly goals, and then you can even break it down to daily goals, and just maybe get the page numbers that you need to obtain to have read so many pages, or whatever the case may be, on a day-to-day basis, so that way you can kind of benchmark where you need to be. Okay, number 5 is that you want to create a schedule for yourself. So you need to decide when you want to complete these tasks, when you want to read these chapters, when you want to do these end of chapter questionnaires, and these mock tests for each chapter test. When are you wanting to do this by, right? You need to create a schedule for yourself. If you know that you have at least a couple of hours a day to study and to do what you need to do, and then maybe you have even more time on the weekends. Maybe you have a 6-hour stretch or 5-hour stretch that you can knock it all out. Then you can knock more of it out on the weekend, or whatever the case may be. So you can only do so much, 2 hours a day, Monday through Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday you can probably have 5 hours and 5 hours. So now you have so much time that you're able to divvy up, this knowledge into small, manageable chunks, so that way you don't feel so overwhelmed. Number 6 is that you want to take action. You want to start working on these tasks. You want to start working on reading, getting these chapters under your belt, getting this knowledge under your belt, taking these example on these mock chapter tests, so that way you can knock it out. Okay, I already know these chapters. Now it's on to the next. It's on to the next phase, right? Number 7 is that you want to track your progress. How are you scoring? How is it going? If your scores are in the low 60s or 70s or whatever, you're barely passing, then you don't need to stop. You need to maybe review that chapter or whatever the case may be. Or maybe if you're every chapter that you've gone through, maybe go through all the information and go through it how you want to go through it as far as your schedule is concerned. And maybe you've gotten 80 and 90 on all these chapters, but maybe one section that you score low on, or you score in the 70s, maybe towards the end of you're having that last free month, that you can go ahead and spend more time reviewing that chapter that you had a little bit of issues with, so that way you can complete all the material in the set time that you said you're going to complete it, and then you can go back to your trouble area. And then work from there, and then still have time to summarize and do a summary of the entire course load. Okay, and then number 8, you want to review and adjust. So you want to regularly check in on your goals and your plan to celebrate your successes. So once you're doing these chapter tests and you're scoring in the higher percentile, and you know this information, so if you were to get tested on it, you definitely will pass it. Celebrate those small wins. Celebrate those chapters that you're getting under your belt. Celebrate those passing scores. Even if it's a mock test, it's still sample material, sample questions that you will likely see on your exam. So celebrate those wins. When you get an answer right and you click you read a question, you click an answer, and it immediately tells you correct. You know what I mean? You are correct. Like, celebrate those small wins. That is information that you're reading. That is information that you're digesting, and that is information that you're retaining. Okay? So celebrate yourself. Give yourself a pat on the back. Take yourself out for a nice coffee, a nice little a drink, or whatever the case may be. But celebrate those small wins, so that way you can even encourage yourself, so that way or even give yourself some type of reward out of each month. Say, okay, if I pass these 2 months coming up, these 2 tests coming up for these 2 chapters that I have for this month, if I pass these 2 tests, then I can go ahead and treat myself to whatever that treat is. Okay, so only what'll motivate you and what'll get you going, and that's the main thing. You wanna review and adjust. Regularly check in on your goals. You want to see where you need to be. You want to accept those challenges and then adapt, and you need to change how you see fit. Okay, so hope you guys found value out of this. Basically, take these goals, guys. First of all, you need to start with having some goals. Let's start there. Okay, if you don't have no goals, you need to write down goals. You need to take time out for yourself. I would take at least, it don't take that long. You can take a 10-15 minutes, and you write down at least 5 goals. I'm not going to even say it's a lot. Write down 5 goals that you want to obtain in the next 6 months to a year. In 2025, because we talk about 2025. So write down 5 goals that you want to obtain in 2025 that you hadn't wrote down before. Okay, and I'm talking to the ones that hadn't wrote down nothing. Okay, write down 5 goals that you want to obtain. Make sure they're SMART goals, that they're specific, that they're measurable, that they're achievable, that they're relevant to what you're doing now. Okay, and where you are in your life now, and that they have a timestamp on them. Okay, that you got to. I want to complete this by this date. You got to put a date on it, because if you don't put a date on it, it's a moving goalpost. You'll keep moving it. You know what I mean? You'll keep giving yourself, leniency, and you'll keep moving the goalposts. So don't do that. Write down 5 goals. Take 10 to 15 minutes. This is your action steps. Take 10 to 15 minutes. Think of 5 goals that you want to accomplish in 2025. Write those down. And then over the next couple of days or so, take time to yourself to go down and go through each goal and make them more manageable. So break them down into more sizable chunks, more manageable chunks. Break them down. If you got something that's on there that take you 6 months to do, break them down into monthly goals to achieve that goal. So steps toward achieving that goal, and then break it down to weekly, and then even break it down to daily goals, or even break it down to even hourly goals. How much time do you have per day or per week to set aside to achieve this particular goal? And then you can break it down by hours. Like in these hours, this is what I'm going to accomplish. Okay, and it can be done. 2025 is your year if you want it to be. Whatever you believe, you're right. Okay. Y'all hear my dog in the background? He really howling. But anyway, I'm going to see about him in a minute. Anyway, I hope you guys found value in this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And until my next video, guys, stay blessed. Bye.